Hi, and welcome to Crafts with Ash DIY and Decor. My name's Ashley, and today I'm going to bring you some super easy Christmas in July Kirkland dupes. And I am so excited because today's video is sponsored by Cricut. One of my goals for 2022 was to have a partnership with them, and the time has come. More on that in just a little bit. Before we get started, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell and the drop-down menu and click all so you're notified about all notifications. I upload videos a few times a month, and coming into the fall season, you know I have so much content that I want to share with you. So definitely stay tuned. If you've been following me for a while, you know that last year I actually purchased my own Cricut. And I do not claim to know everything about Cricut. I literally just taught myself by watching YouTube tutorials and other crafty friends, and that's just how I learned. So today I'm going to share with you just some tips and tricks that I have taught myself or learned on YouTube. And we're going to create some really fun and easy Kirkland Christmas dupes. So whether you're a beginner or have used Cricut for a while, I'm hoping that this video gives you a ton of new inspiration and ideas that you can do coming up into the holiday season. Cricut is a smart cutting machine that allows you to create personalized projects with hundreds of materials. It works with a software called Design Space that comes free with your machine. This is where you can create your project and browse from hundreds of images and fonts. Once you've created your design, Design Space will send it to your machine to cut out, and it's as easy as that. So the first Christmas Kirkland's dupe we're going to create is this "It's the Most Wonderful Time of Year" sign, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use your Cricut and just recreate this look on a budget. I'm going to take you step by step, so we are going to go a little slower, and I'm just going to show you how we come to the end product. So first I'm going to start off with this sign, and I did get this from the Dollar Tree. So after I unwrap it, I'm going to go ahead and take the backing out from the frame, and then I'm going to pull off the flower. Now I did try to attempt to take off that paper, but it was not budging. So I just decided to go ahead and flip it over and use the back side. I used a number of different tools to try to go ahead and get that hanger off, but ultimately what actually worked was my little weeding tool. I went ahead and kind of pried it up and then used my pliers to pull the rest of it out. And then after it did come out, I sanded the holes down just to make it nice and smooth and ready for me to paint. Now I did go ahead and take the paper off the edges, from around the edges that was kind of hanging over. That way you wouldn't be able to see it, but honestly, you don't have to do that because you wouldn't be able to see it anyways once you put it back in the frame. After that, I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 coats of Waverly white chalk paint. Once that was painted, I went ahead and put that off to the side, and now I'm going to take the frame, and I am planning on painting this black, but it has kind of like a shiny surface on it. I don't think it's actual wood, so I'm going to go ahead and sand it down, and I am going to paint the whole thing and sand the whole thing, the front, the sides, the inside edges, and then I'm just going to take some black acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint this entire thing in 2 coats. Then I'm going to put that off to the side and let that dry. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and open our Cricut Design Space on the laptop, and this is a blank canvas right here. This is where you're going to create everything that you want to make. So I'm going to go off to the left, and I'm going to choose Images, which is where that little hot air balloon is. Now I had already typed in "It's the Most Wonderful Time," and look at all these images that popped up. I'm going to take you through and show you how much this or how many results came up. Now you do want to watch, because this one said "It's the most wonderful wine of the year," so just watch what you choose if that's not what you were going for. But they do have a variety of different images that you can choose from, and this is called Cricut Access. Now you can see where it says subscribed under the images. This is a subscription, but 100% worth it, or else you'd have to sit there and design your own images, and ain't nobody got time for that. Well, at least I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up because I did see one that I liked. So I'm going to go ahead and choose it. I'm going to click on it, and you're going to see it highlights in green. Then I'm going to go to the bottom right corner and hit Add to Canvas right there. Now, I do need to measure my backing that I had painted white. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that now. And if I remember correctly, it came to 7 by 11. The whole thing is 7 by 11. Now, personally, I'm not great at measuring. I'm just not, I'm not anything with numbers. I'm just not here for it. So what I do, just a rule of thumb, is take off either a 1/2 inch or an inch of what it actually measures. So for this, I believe went with 6 by 10, and you can easily go ahead and size this to what you need it to be. And here's a little trick for you. I went ahead and added a square by using the little shape icon on the left, and I'm gonna make that a 7 by 11 rectangle so it'll match my white board that I just measured. So then that way, when I size the wording, I can put that on top of the square and I can just kind of get a visual of what it's going to look like. So there's my 7 by 11 board, and then what I'm going to do is put this on top. Now, because I added this square last, I'm going to have to actually arrange it differently, but first I'm going to go ahead and size this up. And like I said, I did 6 by 10, I believe, or 10.5, so 10.5. And that should bring me to where I want to be. So like I said, I added this square rectangle last, so I'm gonna have to click on the rectangle, and then I'm gonna go up to the top and go to arrange, and then I have to send it back, and then that way the words will show up when it goes right on top. And there you go. Now you have kind of like a visual of what this is going to look like on your whiteboard. Now, for some reason, I could not get my screen to zoom out, but here's just kind of like, you know, just what it's going to look like. So you can kind of play with the size, and then once you get the size to how you like, then we're going to go ahead and cut it out, and it's so easy. So here I am, I'm just kind of playing with it, making sure that it's proportional and that I like the size. And you can use the arrows up top to make it smaller or bigger, or you can type it in like I did. But if you are going to do that, you do have to hit that unlock button up top by the size, little size bar. Now we're done with the rectangle, so I highlighted it and I deleted it because we don't need that anymore. So now I'm going to move my words all the way over, and this is going to be in the top left corner of my cutting mat, or of my vinyl. So now it's ready to cut. Now I want to point something out. This is 2 different colors. You can see the light gray and the black. So this is going to be 2 different cuts. So you can do 2 different colors. So it's going to cut the It's the Wonderful Time of in one cut, and then Most the Year in the second cut. Once you like how it looks, you can go up to the top right corner and click Make It, and it's going to sort it into the mat. Now in the Maker 3, you do not have to use a mat for Smart Vinyl. However, I'm going to go ahead and use a mat for this one. So I'm going to click on the mat icon. There you go, and then hit continue, and then it's just going to arrange it on your mat. So this is the first cut. Like I said, this was the black lettering, the Most the Year, and this is just showing you how it's going to cut. So once you like it, you can go ahead and hit continue. Right now, it's just using Bluetooth to connect to my machine, and you can set all that up when you originally get your Cricut out of the box. Easy instructions, and there's a YouTube video that you can watch too. I can link it down below. Next, you're going to go ahead and pick your vinyl. So you could either do Smart Vinyl Permanent or removable. I did Smart Vinyl Permanent, and then the pressure is just default. You don't need anything special because it's just vinyl. Next, you're going to go ahead and head over to your Cricut. Now, when you look at your Cricut, it should be blinking, and you're going to set your vinyl up. Now, you don't have to use the whole sheet of vinyl, but just make sure that it's big enough for what's going to cut. And you saw that little blinking, flashing arrows. That just means put your mat into the Cricut. So you're going to push that, you're going to hold your mat in and put them underneath those 2 little clips on the side. And right now, it's just kind of sizing it up. And now it's going to flash the play button, or the go, or cut, whatever you want to call it. It's the triangle, the little flag. So the buttons literally prompt you on what to do. I know some people get a little intimidated. I was at first because, oh my gosh, it just seems like so many steps. But it literally tells you what to do. So right now it's kind of thinking, getting it ready, and on my laptop, it's actually telling you what it's doing. And now it's just going to go ahead and start cutting. So I'm actually going to do those words, the first set, in black, and then you're going to see that I switched to red vinyl to do that second set of words. So while you watch the Cricut cut out my design, I just want to take this opportunity to welcome you to my YouTube channel. If you're new, thank you so much for choosing to stop by today. I'm so glad that you did, and I really hope that you got a lot of inspiration and ideas from today's video. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you so much for all of your wonderful support and comments. Please keep them coming. I do read them all, and I do go through them all, so thank you so much, and please stay tuned for more fun projects coming up. So once it's done cutting out your design, you can see that it kind of shoots it out, and now those arrows are blinking again. You're going to go ahead and push that, and then you can get your mat and vinyl out. So now it's time to, it's just automatically going to move to the next cut. So I have prepped my mat with my red vinyl, and then I'm going to follow the same steps. I'm going to go ahead and guide the mat into those little clips on the side and hit the arrows to go ahead and let it know, hey, take this mat in. And then it's going to think, and then the little triangle will light up again, and then it'll start cutting. So now, again, like I said, it tells you what to do. So I pushed that little play button, and now it's going to start cutting the second set of words. And it's literally as easy as that. And then you have everything cut and ready to go to put it together. So once it's done, again, it's going to shoot it out. The arrows are going to blink. You're going to click on the arrows, and you can go ahead and pull out your mat. Now we are back on my craft table, and it's time to do the next step, which is called weeding. So I like to cut down my mat because that whole other half of that red is not cut, so I can actually use it for another project. And I have a whole like scrap pile of vinyl, which really comes in handy for like smaller projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off a corner, and then I'm just going to very slowly peel off the rest of my vinyl. Now take your time with this. You want to go slow because you don't want to peel off anything you don't want to peel off, if that makes sense. So I'm just basically weeding around my words because we're going to use this as a decal. So once I get that off, then you're going to go ahead and go into the little openings of like B's, E's, H, O's, and you're going to go ahead and take those, the innards, I like to call them. I take the innards out of my letters. Now, I did not want that circle there around the of, so I just went ahead and took it off, and it was connected to the E, so I just kind of tore it a little bit, and you can't even tell. And then same with the bottom of the F. I'm going to just use my scissors, and I'm just going to cut off that little piece hanging out, and you would never know that that little circle was around the of. So you can kind of customize it too. So the red is done. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the black. And again, I just started at one corner, and this is probably my favorite part. It's like the most satisfying to see all the decal there. And again, I'm just going to slowly go through and take off this top piece of vinyl to reveal my wording. And then again, I'm going to go through and take out the innards. Now that little pink little rubber thing right there it comes in handy so much when taking out these little pieces, because then otherwise it'd be stuck to your hands and everything. I can have the link to that in my description below. I did get that from Amazon. So next I'm going to go ahead and cut down my words, and I'm only going to cut down the black words because now we're going to get this ready to actually put on the board. So I'm going to be using Cricut transfer tape here. And what you're going to do is you're going to unroll it, and you're going to measure how much you need and then cut that amount off. So that's what I'm doing here. I just made sure that it fit over my decal, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it off from the roll. Once you have the size you need, you're just going to simply peel off the clear part from the backing, and then you're going to put that clear part on your decal. Now you want to make sure to go kind of slow with this too, because you don't want any bubbles, but if you do, like I kind of got it wrinkled up top, it was easy for me to take off and just flatten down. So then I had some extra hanging down at the bottom, so I figure why waste it, and I'm going to go ahead and put the word most under there, so that way I can go ahead and get the most out of my transfer tape. Now once that is done, you're going to take your Cricut squeegee, and by applying some pressure, you're just going to go ahead and, I think the word is varnish. Is it varnish? I don't know. You're just going to go ahead and scrape, I guess, the decal onto the clear part of your transfer tape. So like I said, you do have to apply a little bit of pressure, and then I went ahead and cut the black word off from the red word. And now I'm going to take the top part off. Now again, you want to go slow, and you can see that it is coming off mostly, but if you have some stubborn areas, you just hit it again with your squeegee, and that should really help to peel it up. I see some people actually flip it upside down and do this, so anything that works for you, you do you, boo. I don't think that there's like a wrong way to do anything. It's just kind of, you know, what you feel more comfortable with and what works for you. So now that part is completely off, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with my most word, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the year as well. So now this did not cover the decal completely, but I realized it really wasn't going to matter because it still picked all of it up, which you're going to see in a second. So I went ahead and cut that down, put the transfer tape on top of this word, or two words, went ahead and scraped it on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Now you can't see this, but you're probably wondering, Ashley, what are you doing with all these sticky decals? I put them upside down on my table, so sticky side up, obviously, so it doesn't get stuck on anything, or I have like the other little small word hanging off my table. I just kind of like stuck it hanging off my table. So, and then here, look how nice that glides right off. So now what I like to do, because these words are going in between other words, I like to cut this down as close to the word as possible so I can get it to line up really well. So that's what I'm going to do here, because like I said, that most word is going to go in between some other words. So first I'm going to start with my biggest decal first. You can see how I put that word hanging off my desk. That's just kind of what I do. So, because I like to have everything ready to go. So now it's just a matter of going ahead and kind of just positioning all of it. So I started with my biggest decal first. Now I did not push that down all the way. It's just kind of set there. And then I went ahead and sized where I want my year to go, or the year, and just make sure that's good. Once I see that the red lettering is where it needs to be, I'm just going to go ahead and take my scraper again and scrape the decal onto the backing. And then very carefully, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Now, I have heard that this decal, or this transfer tape, the Cricut transfer tape, is so sticky that sometimes it can take off paint. Obviously that didn't do that for me, but you can go ahead and maybe Mod Podge over the paint before you put your decals on to make sure that doesn't happen. I didn't have that issue here, but I have heard, because it's so sticky, which is a good thing, you want it to be sticky, but just in case, you can put like a clear coat over it. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my bottom letter, or my bottom words, and I just did the same thing. And again, if you have some stubborn parts, you just take your little squeegee and rub it on. And you can see that kind of pulled up a little bit. Easy peasy. Just go ahead and put it back down. Push it down. And now I'm going to go ahead and line up the most. And then once I get that to where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee that back on. So like I said, this was super easy to do. Weeding is probably one of my favorite, most satisfying things to do. But look at that. In no time at all, now we have all of the words onto our board. So I'm loving how this is coming out so far. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the backing back into the frame. And as you can see, I did not cover the backing. I did not paint the back. I don't care. I'm just keeping it for myself. I don't sell my stuff. But this would be a really great gift to give or to sell. And if you do, you can go ahead and cover the back and paint the back as well. Clean it up a little bit. But like I said, this is just going to go in my house for the holidays. Okay, so now I went ahead and touched up the frame, but the next step is actually to add the holly and berries. So this is what I'm going to do. I went back into Cricut Design and I'm going to go to Images. I'm going to get rid of It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and I'm just going to type in holly leaves because that's all I want. I just want the leaves. We're going to do something different for the berries. So you can see it gives you a variety of different images. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one that I like. I'm just showing you all the different types. And then once I see the one I like, I'm going to click on it and you can see it's highlighted green. And then I'm going to add it to canvas. Now I decided I wanted all my holly leaves to be 1 inch. So I'm going to go up to the top. You have to make sure it's highlighted, and you can tell it's highlighted because it has that box around it. I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to I'm going to click that little width button and I'm going to type in 1, and then it just kind of defaulted for the height, though it says 1.463 or 53. This is really small for me, so I can't see it. So I just left it at that. I thought that was good enough. I want 4 leaves. So what I'm going to do is right click on one of them and then duplicate, and then it's going to add another one. And what I'm doing is putting them close together at the top left side because that's where it's going to cut, because I'm trying not to waste a lot of my paper. Now for this, I'm actually not going to use vinyl. We're going to use cardstock, which it cut like a dream and I love it. So right now I'm going to highlight all 4 so they all 4 cut at once, and I'm going to attach it all together, and then I'm going to hit make it, and then we're going to go through the same steps we did before. Now I did decide to do this on a mat, and I think you have to when you're using cardstock. I could be wrong on that. This is a new machine that they sent me. I have the Cricut Maker 3, so I'm kind of just learning as I go here too, but I'm pretty sure you have to use a mat for the cardstock. And then right here, that first green right there, it says medium cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then it says already what my pressure needs to be, which is default, which is fine. And then we're going to head back over to the Cricut. Now I already put my cardstock onto this, and it did come from Hobby Lobby. It's like green. It has some sparkles in it, so I thought it would be really pretty. I would have preferred darker, but this is all I had. So right now I'm going to go ahead and line it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and click the arrows, and it's going to go ahead and feed my paper through. And then same as like it did before, it's going to size it up. It's going to run my mat through. And then once it's ready to cut, we're going to go ahead and push the triangle that's going to start blinking, and boom, there you go. And this cut so quickly because there were just like 4 little cuts that it had to do. So this was done literally in no time. So I'm going to go ahead and let that cut out the holly leaves. Okay, so now it's done cutting. The arrows lit up, so I went ahead and pushed it, which means I can go ahead and grab my mat out of the machine. So you can see all you have to do is just peel off the little holly leaves. So that's what I did, and I ended up with 4. Now I do want these to be 3D, so what I ended up doing was taking a very small craft stick, and I'm just cutting off little pieces. And then once I get all of my pieces cut off, I'm just going to simply hot glue a piece of wood to the back of each one of my holly leaves. And this is gonna make it so it pops up or pops off from my backing. So, and this was super easy. Now, usually I use that like 3D pop-up tape from the Dollar Tree, but I have no idea where that went. So I just thought that this would be an easy fix for it for now, and it worked out perfectly fine. Now for my berries, I'm actually just going to take them from this little berry garland, and because I'm doing 2 different sets of holly and berries, I'm going to need 6 berries, 3 to go on each, so I'm going to go ahead and cut all of those off. Now it's just a matter of gluing everything down. So I'm going to take my first holly leaf and I'm going to hot glue that down, and then position my second one, and then I'm going to start gluing down my berries. I started with the one in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue the other 2 on the other sides. And I really loved how this little holly berry design turned out, because first of all, if I didn't have my Cricut, I'd have to sit there and cut off these little holly leaves. So it just made it so much easier. And I don't have a lot of Christmas like stickers and accessories and things like that right now. So I would have had to go to the store and buy some. So it's perfect. I just, you know, popped some scrapbook paper in and I was done. All right, and there we go. And there is the dupe. So let me know what you think of this one and if you'll be attempting this yourself. For the next dupe, we are going to make these super simple appetizer plates. And when I say super simple, I am not lying. This took me minutes to make. So I picked up 4 of these plates from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the inside round piece. And I believe it was 5 inches around. And so now I'm going to go right to Cricut, my design space. I'm going to go to images, type in joy, and I'm going to try to find a font that looks like that. Now, of course, you can type this up yourself, but rather than going through all the fonts and trying to find one that fit, I just thought, hey, I'm going to use one that's already there. And look at that. I found one that's pretty much the same. So I went ahead and clicked on it, added it to my canvas, and again I'm going to go ahead and add a shape off to the side, and of course it's going to be a circle. Now that circle is going to add right to my canvas, and then I'm going to size it to the size that I need for it to be match the inside round. So, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's the whole plate was 7 by 7, and then this is when I decided, you know what, I think I'm just going to put the word on the inside of the plate. So I'm going to go ahead and change that, and I changed it to 5, I believe. Yep. So there we go. So now it's 5 all the way around. And again, because I added that circle last, I'm going to click on it, send it to back, and then I'm going to move my word over the circle just as a vision, just a visual, just to see what it's going to look like. Now I went up to the top. I'm going to unlock my measurements so I have the power to use the arrows and just kind of get them to look how, you know, get them to move how I want it to move and size up. So once I pretty much have the size that I want, and I'm not even looking about the stars and the circles, we're going to get rid of those. I'm just looking at the word. Next, I'm going to highlight the circle and delete that. Now we're going to get rid of the stars and the circles. So what I did was went to shapes and clicked on a square, and I'm going to size that down because what we're going to do is cover over the star. Now once that star is covered, I'm going to highlight that square, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom right corner where you see it says slice. So I'm going to click on slice. Now this does take a second, so just wait. Now see how it brought that star through? That's how you know it's sliced. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the square, delete that, click on that star, delete that, and then click on that, delete that, click on that, delete that, and click on that and delete that. So that basically sliced it all up, because what slice does, from my understanding, is gives you options to like make it a stencil or to move it around, just kind of different things like that. But I just wanted to get rid of those completely. So now I'm going to follow those exact same steps with the rest of the stars and all of those little circles. So again, I just go to my shapes, I'm going to pick a square, I'm going to cover over the star, I'm going to highlight it, slice it, and then just delete, delete, delete until I see that it's all gone. This is your friendly reminder that if you love what you see so far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Not only does it really help my channel to grow, but it tells YouTube you love what you see and you want to see more. So smash that like button. Okay, so now that I have my word and I got rid of all of the shapes, I'm going to go ahead and move that again to the top left corner. And I do need 4 of these words, so again, I'm just going to highlight it and hit duplicate, and then it's going to add 3 more to my canvas. And then we're going to go ahead and move to the next steps to actually cut it out. Now on the right side of the screen, you can see all of the joy, 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 joy right there, but I want this all to cut out at once. So again, I'm going to highlight all 4 and I'm going to go up to the top and hit group, and then that should make it one basic cut. I'm not sure if that step is honestly necessary, but that's just how I tell the machine to cut all of them out. So next I am going to go ahead and use a mat for this. Now you can see that the dots over the J up top are a little close to the red line. So I decided to go ahead and move these down a little bit just to be safe. It might have been okay, but I didn't want to take that chance and have to recut all of it. So I just decided to move it down. Now it all looks good, so I'm going to hit continue. Now it's connecting to my machine. And again, it automatically does this once you have it set up once. It should automatically connect. Now it's going to have me choose my material. I'm going to do Smart Vinyl Permanent. And again, I didn't have to use the mat, but I'm just choosing to use the mat this time. Now there's the Smart Vinyl. It did come from Cricut. So now I have it on my mat, and I made sure that I cut the vinyl the width and the length that I actually need. So now it's blinking, so that tells me to go ahead and load my mat. And it's going to take it in. It's going to do its thing. It's going to think. It's going to position it. All the things. And then once it's ready to cut, the little triangle play button is going to start flashing. So I'm going to hit that, and then it's going to cut out all my words. Easy peasy. So now it's done cutting and the arrows are blinking. I'm going to hit that, and that tells me I can take it off of the machine, or take it out. Now it's time to weed again. I'm going to take the vinyl off my mat, and then starting in the corner, I'm going to go ahead and pull it back. Again, be careful, because you especially don't want to take up those little dots over the J's. And then just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and take out the innards of each of these words. Next up, I'm going to take that transfer tape again. I'm going to line it up, cut it down so it fits all of my wording. And then I'm going to peel back one of the corners and put the clear part onto my vinyl, making sure to rub it down. If there's a few bubbles, that's okay. I haven't really seen that it causes that much of an issue. And then now I'm actually going to cut these, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee these. I forgot. I squeegee them first, so I'm just using my little squeegee tool to get it to go from the backing to the clear. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut these all up, because next we're going to apply each one of these to each one of my plates. So here we go. We're going to do the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to squeegee these down again, because I didn't really do a good job the first time. I kind of was quickly doing it, but you can see how easy peasy this was to take off. And now it's just a matter of positioning it in the middle of my plate. So once I got it to where I wanted it to go, I used my squeegee again to get that decal actually on the plate. And then I'm going to pull it up, and voila! We have one of our joy plates. Like, seriously, how easy was that? Now this set of plates is actually going to my sister's. She just bought a new house, so I'm making her all kinds of stuff so she can put it in. Whether she wants it or not, she's going to get it because I have to do stuff for my videos, so I figure I'll just give it to her because she's moving into a bigger house than what she had. So obviously she's gonna have more room to decorate, right? So this would be a great gift idea. You don't even have to use the word joy. I actually thought about using the word snow so I can use this in my winter decor and not so much my Christmas decor. But look how awesome these came out. Now I saw these wine glasses on the Kirkland site as well. So I went ahead, I did the same thing. I went to Cricut Design Space and I actually typed in JLLY, putting a space in between the J and the L. And then I went to the images, found a wreath that I liked, and I sized that in between the J and the L. And this is the same process. I cut it out, I weeded it, and I went ahead and used my squeegee to go ahead and put the transfer tape on. And now I'm just going to take this wine glass that I got from the Dollar Tree to go ahead and apply. Now one trick for something like a cup that rolls, I go ahead and put something on either side so it keeps it from rolling. And look how easy this is. I just put my decal on and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Easy peasy. I didn't make all 4 of those glasses, but you totally could. And then I saw these bowls. How easy is this? You literally get a bowl from the Dollar Tree, cut out a deer, so I went to images, I sized it down, I think this is 1 inch, cut it out on black vinyl, put my little transfer tape over it, squeegeed it on, take it off, and now I'm just going to put it on the inside of my bowl, and that was it. Now I didn't make 4 of these either, but you completely could. You can even do different images on each one, whatever you want to do. But this is just to kind of give you more ideas and inspiration on how easy it is to use your Cricut to make a fun little stemware or dining set. For the last DIY, my sister actually did pick this one out because I told her to pick something out so I can make it for her. So we're going to go ahead and try to recreate that sign. Now my plan was just to use a box sign that I got from the Dollar Tree and paint it black. But then I was going through my stash and I actually found this sign, and look, the back is already black. So this was no work required right here. So I didn't even have to mess with paints. For now. I will at the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and measure, and the inside I believe was 6 by 6, I want to say. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to my Cricut, and I'm going to go to images, and I'm going to type in all is calm, all is bright. Now sometimes I don't even type in the whole thing because sometimes the Cricut knows where you're going with that. So you can see I typed in all is calm. So now I'm just going to scroll down and pick one that I like. Now, of course, I couldn't find the exact font that the Kirkland's one had, but I have to say, I think I like mine a little better, and you'll see why in a minute. So I found one that I liked. I went ahead and highlighted it, add it to canvas. Now, if you look off to the side, this is actually going to be 2 cuts. The stars is 1 cut, and then the words are another cut. I don't want the stars. So all I did was click on the stars on the right, and they highlighted, and then you just click delete on your laptop, and boom, bada bing, they're gone. So you don't even have to do the step that we did before to get rid of all the stars and the circles. So then I just went ahead and sized it up using the arrows. Now I am going to go ahead and print this on a mat. Now it's sorted it on the mat, and it's connecting to my Bluetooth. Literally, it's the same thing every time. So the more you use your Cricut, it's going to be like nothing to you. It's just going to be like boom, boom, boom. You know what you're doing. So now I'm going to go ahead and use removable vinyl, because what we're going to do is actually make this into a stencil. So I have all set up on my laptop. Now I put a color of vinyl that I'm really not going to use a lot because, again, this is just going to be used as a stencil. So the arrows were lit up, I hit it, I put it in the 2 clips, it's taking it through, and then once it's ready to cut, again, the triangle is going to light up and flash, and you're just going to click that. And that's it. That's all she wrote for this part. Okay, so it's just about done cutting, and now the arrows are going to flash. So you're going to push that, which tells it to eject it, basically. And now I took it back to my desk, and I just cut it out. Like I said, I like to get rid of anything I don't need. Now this time, instead of starting from the corner and taking off that big piece, we're actually going to take out the letters. So you're going to reverse weed. Anything you would have taken out for your decal, you're going to take out the exact opposite. Now you are going to leave in like those little parts of like A's and B's and G's, and you're going to leave that stuff in because we are going to stencil this. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and reverse weed this. So now you can see that it's turning into a stencil. So now I'm going to take my transfer tape, again, follow all the same steps, size it up, cut it down, and then I'm just going to apply the clear part to my actual stencil. Now for this, you do want to be careful because you do want it to pull up like all those innards. Remember how I talked about the innards? You do want that on your stencil here. So just very slowly lift it up, and you want the entire thing. So I want all this yellow to pull up just like how it is. And look how nice and easy that came off. Now I'm going to take my frame, I'm going to position it to the middle or wherever I want it. I did have to cut it down a little bit because I wanted it to fit perfectly in there, so I had it right in the middle. So now I'm just going to, now you can see I'm lifting it up on the sides because I'm pushing the middle down first. That's a good way so you don't get a lot of bubbles. Although again, I did get some bubbles, and I didn't really see that it caused that much of an issue. So now I was trying to take off the transfer tape here, but it kept just pulling up the yellow. So I did go ahead and cut that down because it was kind of like going up the side of the frame, and that's why. So now I'm able to go ahead and really push it down. Now for this, you do have to be careful. Go slow. I went between using my squeegee and this little tool to go ahead and peel up the whole thing. Why? Because the transfer tape did want to take out all the innards, but you want them to stay on there. So like look, it's trying to take off that little inside part of the A. So you do just want to go slowly, and I'm kind of using the weeding tool to guide it. So say, no, this needs to stay down here. I don't know. I know that sounded silly, but basically I think you understand. Now you can see that it is pulling up and it is bubbling a little bit. That's okay. To me, it didn't seem to make a difference for when I went to stencil this on. So I'm going super slow. Then one more time I'm going to go through, and I'm going to take my squeegee and make sure this decal is completely pushed on. Then if something did come off on the transfer tape, all I did was take it off with that little weeding tool and just reapplied it back on. It's that easy. So it's not the worst thing in the world. If it comes up, you can always fix it. But now that I have everything pushed down, it's actually time to go ahead and stencil this on. So to do this, I'm just going to use my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to use a little foam brush, and I'm only using the corner of my foam brush. This was the only kind of brush I had to do this. Of course, I would recommend a stencil brush or something like that, but this worked out perfectly well, and I cannot wait for you to see what this looks like when I pull this off. Even I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love, and I really hate that I have to give this to my sister. I want to keep it. Maybe I'll make myself another one. So I'm just going to go through. Now I am lightly putting this on here. Now in the Kirkland's piece, it looked like chalkboard, which that means it's not completely covered. So if there's some black coming through the white, I'm okay with that. Look how crisp and clean that is. I am obsessed with this. That came out so nice. The lighting here is kind of harsh, so you'll see better in a minute. So now I'm going to go through, and now I'm going to take out all the innards. And you can tell what's supposed to be there, what's not supposed to be there. So just work your way around, and how amazing does that look? Oh, so perfect. So now I went to Cricut Designs again. I did the same thing, went to Images, and I found this little holly berry set, printed it out, reverse weeded it. So I took out all the outside parts, not the insides, but the outsides. I'm going to go ahead and apply these to my board. And again, you want to be careful with this too when you go to take the transfer tape off, because again, it wants to pull off the innards. So just go slow, use your weeding tool to guide it, keep pushing it on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my Christmas green apple barrel paint to stencil on the leaves and the little swirlies. And then I'm going to use my red apple barrel paint to do the berries, obviously. And I am just using a foam brush. I just took it off the handle because I felt like that gave me more control, especially because these are little pieces that I'm stenciling. So I'm just going to go through. Now, at first I thought, oh my gosh, this is not working. It's not sticking. But wait until you see me pull it up. It was totally working, and I love how this came out. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my red. And I got in there, and here we go. The final reveal. Look how cute. Now, I decided not to take any of the innards out because I think I weeded it wrong. So whenever I pulled it off, I just left it how it was. It did not need anything else. Now, like I said, this looked like chalk on the other one. So I just took my fingernail and I'm just kind of scraping it so it doesn't look perfect. And it looks more like a chalkboard. And I absolutely am obsessed with this piece. This one is definitely my favorite DIY from this entire video. What do you think? So as you can see, this is how easy it was to put together some budget-friendly DIYs that look so high-end and that were inspired from big box stores or high-end stores. You do not need to spend a ton of money purchasing all those items when you could just run to the Dollar Tree or your favorite craft store, pick up some little accessories, grab your Cricut and vinyl, and do this all yourself. Plus, it does give you a happy feeling knowing that you created all this. You made this all yourself, and like I said, these are great ideas for gifts or to give away or to sell. So definitely consider, if you haven't already, grabbing you a Cricut. It is the best investment that I made, and even for those really quick last minute projects, it's so easy for me to just run upstairs, throw together a design, cut it out, and voila, I have a new gift that I can give, or a design piece for my bathroom or for my kitchen or something like that. So definitely 100% recommend. I want to thank you so much again for joining me today. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button, and comment down below on what your favorite project of the video was. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, until I see you again, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!